If you enjoy gardening as much as I do, you probably already recognize these tools. And in order to maintain your gardens to their fullest, it's always good to make sure that you have all your garden tools ready. So today's video, we're going to talk about garden tool readiness. We'll share with you our favorite tips on having your tools in the best condition possible for a great gardening season. Seeing as the shovel is probably your most popular tool in your arsenal for maintaining your garden, and one of the important things you want to do is to make sure that that shovel's clean and sharp and ready to go. So you just take your wire brush and just clean that dirt off. As well, that dirt's going to possibly contain some seeds from weeds and moss that you're going to wind up transporting to another spot of your property. So when you're done with that shovel, clean that off, as well as any stickers or anything that's stuck on them that's going to hold moisture. If you're going to be digging in the ground with your hoe or spade or your shovel, it's a lot easier to do that digging if the tool has a bit of an edge to it, so that when you push it into the ground, it's going to be doing as much work as you are. Sharpening is not difficult. You can either use a whetstone if you have it for your knives, or just a fine file or rasp, just run along that edge. Or if you have a disc grinder with a fine grinding disc on it, you can just give it a quick whisk with that. Again, it's not going to be razor sharp, but that's going to cut through sod and dirt much faster now and much easier on you than it would have before. Maybe even give it a bit of a spray with a sprayed oil, sprayed lubricant, just something to coat it so the moisture can't get into the metal and start rusting. And you're good to go. So we just got finished going over putting a nice edge on your garden tools for easy use. The next part we want to talk about is the other end of the tool, and that's the handle. So a couple options in handles in today's world. You've got your fiberglass, maintenance free, nothing you have to do to it, just use it and enjoy it. Compared to the typical style of a wooden handle tool, this you'll want to check and make sure that it's not cracked open or any splinters that you're going to get in your hands. Make sure they're smooth. If there is, just take some sandpaper, give them a rub and make them nice and clean and smooth so nothing's going to get caught in your hands. And then apply a little bit of a linseed oil just to give them that little special touch. So just apply that linseed oil to the handle, do it from top to bottom. So that linseed oil it'll seal it, keep moisture from getting into it, stop it from cracking and splintering, and save you the expense of having to replace a handle when you don't need to. Just going to talk a little bit on how to look after your pruners or your loppers. It doesn't take a lot of maintenance. Your loppers, if there's any great amount of play in them, you'll just want to tighten that center nut up and get them a little tighter, as well as you just want to make sure you get a nice sharp edge. So no different than you did with your shovel. Take either a whetstone or a small fine file and just give that edge a bit of a rub. Again, they're never going to be razor sharp, but you do want to be able to get the burrs and make it just a little nicer and easier for it to cut that material when you go to do it. Same thing for your small hand pruners. You can give them just a little sharpen as well. So the last thing we want to do with our pruners or our loppers is just find the pivot points and apply a little bit of lubrication so they're nice and easy to work with, and it helps keep some moisture from getting in there and rusting as well. And the last thing we want to mention, more for yourself than for your tools, is some safety gear. Work gloves are a must. You're going to be digging and chipping away at dirt and rock, safety glasses. And if you're going to be kneeling down any length of time, a knee pad is the perfect solution. Thanks for joining us today for our video on garden tool readiness. We hope that the tips we showed you help you keep your tools in great shape.